It's cool and green. Royal we culture we clean. Fi straighten up something that them lean with transparency from the agency of the I Supreme. Cosmic intuition and initiation from within. I'm another angel and on a wing like pigeon. Concept by accept of I origin, representing free-minded article breaching. Man without a woman is like a house without kitchen. People without them roots is like plants for edging. Everything perish without oxygen. Them a vibration, them a waves, and them a sound palm rhythm. Hey! Time for the lions. Tell them one story. Listen to the lion voice, yeah? Out.
This is Mama Thea of Asli Pure, and when I want to hear the story from the lion and the lioness, I listen to Lion Voice with Ras Tafari.
So number one thing to expect during this new Donald Trump presidency is a war with Iran. You know what I mean? Donald Trump has been very aggressive, ending the Obama nuclear deal with Iran, the assassination of a top Iranian general, Soleimani, which was very provocative in Iraq. That was ordered by Donald Trump. Now he has people like Tulsi Gabbard, people like Robert F. Kennedy. However, the Israel lobby is very powerful in this country. And of course, Israel would like to bring America into a war, allegedly, I have to say that because censorship on these platforms is serious. Allegedly, Israel wants to bring America into a conflict with Iran. And Donald Trump likes, he's a man very easy if you boot him up, you know what I mean? And make some aggressive, that machismo. So it's very likely that this war with Iran that is looming, especially they're going tit for tat. We've been reporting it here on Rastafari independent media. And why? Remember what we said. The war with Iran is going to shut down fuel production. The Straits of Hormuz. This is 50% of China's oil comes through the Straits of Hormuz. China's global manufacturing power. The cost of increased fuel in China was going to put additional costs on all consumer goods. So you can see the domino effect. It's going to reverberate around the planet. Then you also have the cost of food and fuel. So this is going to affect Rastafari. In response to this concern with the war with Iran and United States, that is likely or has been made even more likely either. And let me be clear, if Kamala Harris won, probably the same thing is probably we would just be dragged by Israel into that same conflict, allegedly. However, with Donald Trump, like I say, he has a more muscular, he likes to send a message and this kind of bad man type of style. So it makes it more likely that that conflict is going to happen and plunge the earth into increased costs. What does this mean? This means, again, I've been sounding the trumpet to the global family to store food.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, for the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice. The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast so that the image could speak and cause all who refuse to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, new world order. Have to work harder, have to pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Have to work harder, have to Babylon them coming with them microchip and them video game that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Them start bleaching, diverse doctrine. Them start preaching. Angels for the stars they reaching. They're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order. Them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order. New world order. Happy work harder. Happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them prison cell that's the new slave ship.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, EmpressMenen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man. I'm a creative industry attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion's Voice, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Today we are going into the US election, and what does this election mean for Rastafari? I live in Washington DC. I was thinking, and I wasn't even gonna pay it any mind, but I said, as Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media, and I'm here in the nation capital, Washington DC. It would be irresponsible to not at least block a sound and give a perspective on what is happening. So I'm going to do that. I want to big up Rastafari Livity on IG, Dejazmatch. If you haven't seen his interview, check it out. He posted something right after the election, a quote of His Majesty. And His Majesty says, democracy, republic, what do these words signify? What have they changed in the world? Have men become better, more loyal, kinder? Are the people happier? All goes as before. All goes on as before, as always. Illusions, illusions. So this quote, which was given in an interview, I believe it's available in the selected speeches. Big up Rastafari, Livity, Dejazmatch. Again, if you haven't seen the interview, go check out the interview with the brethren. It's very insightful, brethren. But this should be the position of every Rastafari. So you should never have a Rastafari Democrat, a Rastafari Republican, a Rastafari PNP, a Rastafari Labour Right, a Rastafari this, that. And I must always maintain independence. And again, that doesn't mean that you cannot vote or be engaged politically. We have to build an economic base so that we can build leverage within the political sphere, as advocated by Dr. Claude Anderson in Powernomics. And we have to ensure that, we engage on the basis of the actual issues and not just emotion or party politics. And I have to stand for truth and right. So this, again, encapsulate, buzzwords, and these things are used in politics to get people very emotional. And it's my see I show you that this is all illusion. So again, big up Rastafari Livity, Dejazmatch, for posting this and reminding us all that the position of Rastafari is non-aligned. His Majesty was one of the founding members of the non-aligned nations, which is a precursor to BRICS. In Indonesia, that famous Bandung conference, that speech is also in the selected speeches. So again, every Rastafari does know I and I stay non-aligned. We're gonna touch on that and see how it's relevant, because in everything we do here, we want to know how, as Rastafari, should we be framing it. That's one of the responsibilities and the roles of media, is to create that narrative. And online, I'm seeing different ones posting on different sides, and you have Rasses who take sides, and I am against that type of stance. I think I and I should be non-aligned. No, non-aligned doesn't mean that we are not political or that we don't take political action. Non-aligned means that you're not gonna hear I and I come up here and tell you, say, I and I a Democrat or I and I a Republican. I and I would have to be independent, because I and I yield him to the Maui Haile Selassie the first. So we want to go into the whole fullness. And remember, I have every reason to support the Democratic Party in this election that just passed. Why? Because Kamala Harris of Jamaican ancestry, and she went to Howard University. But as we will touch on when we look at some of the policies, what's happening, genocide in the Middle East, all these things that are supported, and as a historian, there are certain things that we can be a part of. Not there as Rastafari, who stand for the oppressed, the needy, the downtrodden, that symbol. And I'm sure we have some lion pride in the Middle East, because I just can't read Arabic. I tell you them. I'm seeing subscribers coming in on Arabic. So don't feel like the lion pride is not all over creation. So we have to stand with those, because the people are suffering. We're in dark times, not just in the Middle East and Africa, Congo, Sudan. There's still insurgencies and militia groups roaming from Libya, all of these places. And Libya, still I see the most activity from Libya. Right now, Libya has passed Kenya in INI analytics. I still haven't seen a comment from Tripoli. I don't know what is happening in Libya, why the Libya people them are subscribed, or why they're watching, because I can't see whether or not they're subscribing, but why, they're watching. But if you're in Libya, drop a comment, let I know someone. First comment from Tripoli, you're gonna get a shout out as comment of the strong. So please, and we haven't done a comment of the strong for a while. We're gonna do one today, so stay tuned for that later in the episode. So today we are going political, and we are going to talk about Rastafari. Oh, we see this thing happening. Donald Trump wins in a landslide in America. People shocked. Some people are crying on TV, one bag of something. Let us start off by saying that the Democrat and the Republican is two wings of the same bird. So the eagle are flying now. Some members say the eagle, you have the bear, you have the dragon, you have the lion, you have the bulldog, which is England. Everyone have them heretical symbol. Rome was the eagle same way. Germany was the eagle same way. So we have to know the symbolism when we talk about politics. And again, as Rastafari, we stay non-aligned in any nation that we are in. So whether it be Jamaica, St. Lucia, the principles that we are talking should apply across the board, particularly for the ones them who like-minded in the lion pride and seeking to make that change. We exert the most leverage when we can be the independent, and we may vote as a bloc on one side or the other side, depending on the specific policies. That's why I'm saying non-aligned doesn't mean that you're not political, but it just means what? It means that we don't rep for this side or that side. You know, we rep for our principle. And many groups in America and different countries take this stance, and I think it's a wise stance and a moral stance, because sometimes the party, when they're not governed by the same principles as I, they can be corrupted, and then you are out there campaigning for corruption and destruction. So as Rastafari, we should avoid this. So today, I want to give 5 major points of how the US election, what does it mean for Rastafari? 5 major points. Just moving forward, we are in a repatriation posture. You know, the decline of the Western world, the colonial world, is happening rapidly around us. Babylon the Great is falling. His Majesty struck the blow. Remember, coronation was the announcement. 1935, he struck the blow. The building of the Organization of African Unity, him step on them, you know what I mean? And the tide has been sweeping ever since. So these are the things that we now are looking at, where we are in this great story of life. You know, as Bob Marley said, they got to fulfill the book. We are in the era of the great return, meaning people are starting to return home. Big up the Trinidad 12 tribe of Israel, 41 touchdown from the motherland, you know what I mean? Inspiring. And again, I'm gonna reach out and see if I can get a guest to come in from the 12 tribe of Israel in Trinidad to talk about the planning, you know, the whole iris behind that trip. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be forthcoming. And we have so much things that are happening on the continent with Rastafari, powerful works that we're going to be covering. I promised that we would be bringing more voices of our indigenous brethren and sisters on the continent. So stay tuned. I got one of the greatest compliments this strong sister message and said she was watching an episode with our whole family, a Rastafari family. She grew up Rastafari, second generation. She said her and her whole family sit down and I watch Lion Voice, and they watch the episodes, Lion Talk, all of these things, and these are the things that make I know that what we're doing is gonna work, because it's a void, you know. This type of content for Rastafari people can see ourselves, you know, see the greatness that we're doing. We can counter the narrative that we're not doing anything, or that we're just smoking, or Rastafari just watered down and we're, you know, the hippies and with this and we no, that is happening, you know, and we don't want to be naive to say that we don't have challenges, but the core is always moving. The workers are always working. The integrity is still there. You know what I mean? And the beautiful thing that's happening now with this platform is that, you know, we're getting the calls, we're making connections. You know, ones are learning about other ones, workers are learning about other workers and reaching out to I am able to connect ones and ones. So, you know what I mean, that cross-pollination. So this is a movement. When the IDMC, you know what I mean, I talk about the Lion Pride, I'm just a representative, you know what I mean? I was just a vehicle that His Majesty used to rise up this energy, but it's greater than I, and I have no illusion about being an instrument of the Most High. What I try to do is just to be obedient, because there are a lot of different works I could be doing, but the Iris is called to this Rastafari independent non-aligned media at this time, and I just wholeheartedly am putting the energy in. So I really do give thanks again to all of the Lion Pride who are supporting I, and you know what I mean, I want to really make sure that we can bring some value with high level reasoning in Rastafari, because that's what we came into the movement, high level. So when you don't, if you come here expecting I to just diss Kamala, you know, or diss Donald Trump, this is the wrong platform, because again, we don't take any sides. We are looking at strategic, you know what I mean, for what the time is right now, because this is a timely show and a timely movement too. We're not just caught in the past. We document the past through the voices of those who lived it. However, we're not just stuck in the past. You see us talking about the building of Zion, bringing in races who have physical infrastructure that represent where we're going. We have all of that type of content on the platform. We talk to Bingi Raskeshan from Habesha in Ghana. We talk to First Man of Rastafari Village, Honorable Priest Kailash. So all of that is here on the platform in a fullness. So when we look at the US election, which the US is still the major superpower, and behind most of the Western or the Western centric multilateral organizations the US is running, and the major funder, you know, of the UN, the headquarters of the UN, is the USA. And the USA is unique in that, you know, for decades they were the sole superpower after the collapse of the Soviet Union. They were the sole superpower, and during this time achieved a level of dominance probably the earth has never seen before. His Majesty comments on it. If you doubt anything I'm saying, read His Majesty's speech to both houses of Congress, the US Congress and the selected speeches, to see how miraculous and how powerful America was in its heyday, coming off of the Second World War, because it had the oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific. America was able to develop unhindered. And remember, in World War II, when the beast made war with the lamb and then ate itself up, because what happened? England and France, the whole Laval Pact. And we're going to do a whole series on the Italian War too, you know. I'm reading a book right now. When I seal up that book, we're going to do some deep dive into that beast make war with the lamb. Peace. You know that the reading Ras, we have to, you know, that's what we love, the deep reasonings on these topics. But when Britain and France made a deal with Italy, that Italy would have Ethiopia, the judgment that His Majesty chanted in the League of Nations resulted in France being completely destroyed by the Germans, London being completely destroyed by the Germans. All of these countries, their industrial base, everything flat. Europe was a pauper. They had nothing there. The fullness is that now we have to go into America. America, separated by the sea, is able to build an industrial base. America is going through its industrial revolution. So there's a Marshall Plan, you know, American official Marshall comes up with this plan about the financing and the building of Europe. So American companies go over there. The military industrial complex, military bases are built. All kind of infrastructure goes into the rebuilding of Europe, which is why today the European countries, which were world powers, don't have no huge military. They were humbled in World War II. The vestige of this order is why you see France on the Security Council with England and the United States, when France is not really a power, but because of their colonial possessions, they were once the monster under Napoleon time. And I mean, they were the unipower. But Europe's power now becomes subservient to America's power. So most of the multilateral institutions, America runs these institutions. So this is why the US election is so important, because it dictates for foreign affairs. And just like any massive bureaucracy, there are factions within the US. So when we look at the Democrat versus the Republican, know that the whole of them are friends. Let's start there. But there are different factions, just like even within Rastafari, we all say Rastafari, but you have some man who say we might have to do things this way, people do things that way. So it's the same with any government. It's just that these people have money, they have agencies, you know what I mean? The CIA and the FBI may not too agree, you know, but they still work under the same umbrella, but they might have a different agenda. They're dealing with things different manner run, the different something then. You see me I say? So when you look at it from that perspective, you have to realize that um, foreign policy, which is what really affect I and I as Rastafari the most, because most Rastafari are outside of the US. I always say when the African Americans really start take on to Rastafari, that's when you're gonna see this country, the vibration change, because African American culture is the strongest cultural force on the planet, without question. Which is why they try to keep Rastafari from these youths in America and try to keep them on this low vibrational frequency. They trap them, you know what I mean? Literal. And now that trap is spreading globally. Rastafari is a threat to that because of the power and the positivity of the vibration, which is why we can no longer depend on their system and we have to build our own system. Kuji Chakalia, we think there right now. Self-determination. So, the faction within the US that won is the Donald Trump faction, which is an America First faction. That's all they say, against foreign wars and intervention to an extent, and we're going to talk about that when I give you the 5 implications of this election for Rastafari shortly. You're going to see there's some exceptions, but generally, what Donald Trump represents is the faction within America that wants to, be protectionist. And by protectionist, we're talking about build up the borders, tariffs on imports, build up American manufacturing capacity, fundamentals of nation building that America was built on, but has gotten away from that. Whereas the Democrat faction, they are more globalists. They are more, they have holdings all about the place. Military industrial complex is on both sides. Let's say that. That's why, as we're going to come to, the foreign policy is not going to change. So there are layers to everything that's going on. So as Rastafari, we can't just come surface with everything. You know what I mean? We have to understand the layers. So with the Donald Trump faction winning, this has specific implications for I and I as we move forward. And that is really what we are going to drill down on in this episode. So get your ital snacks, prepare, call your brethren and sister, because we're going to go deep within this thing today. Now, before we do that, we are going to big up the Lion Pride. If you subscribe, you are part of the Lion Pride. We are 12,400 plus right now, headed toward 12,500 and beyond. We'll hit 13,000 this coming strong. I just have to give thanks. I continue to be humble. We've slowed down a little. We're not doing 1,000 every strong anymore, but the growth is steady. And what I love is that the growth on the episodes them is also growing forward to where we were before I made the choice to say in cry. You know what I mean? We're averaging about 100 plus views on each video. And that's a good place to be. You have a room full of 100 people hear a message. We give thanks for that. That not shabby, you know what I mean? So big up all of the Lion Pride. If you're not coming on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're missing out, because we are having a lot of joy with the Lion Pride live in the comments, the section. We're building that community. Seeing the faces, and the thing I love about the Lion Pride, as I always say, is that it's ones from all over creation. Ones in America, the Caribbean, my sister from Reunion Island, leave we out, you know what I mean, off of the coast of Madagascar, is always there checking in Lion Pride on Patreon. Big up yourself. And the Lion Pride and Patreon, they're checking in, Bongo Wisely are Asian. You know what I mean? It's a proper village that we are forming on Wednesday. So if you don't check out the Wednesdays live, join us live. We're gonna have some very powerful guests to close out the Roman calendar year. So join us live. And let me just take time to big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. We had two brethren join this strong Kojo upon Wade, the Kingman, for our great sister Asantewa upon Wade. And we also had Ras Tafari join, and I love to see the brethren them join, and both of the brethren them join at the $10 level. Big up on yourself. These things keep I going. That brings our Lion Pride on Patreon to 22. We lost a couple of ones, and let me tell the item how it goes sometimes. Sometime a one will come in, life happens, life is lifing, and they have to take a pause. We don't watch that. We give thanks for if you give $1, well, you can't give $1, but if you give $5 to the platform, we love you because you've done you're action oriented. You want to see change. You know what I mean? So big up everyone. But big up those two brethren. Shout out. Big up Sister Joan. I met Sister Joan Sparks, Lion Pride on Patreon. I'm getting to know the Patreon slowly. Where again, the aim and the objective is to create that village of like-minded ones who are active. So when the item see I'm the representative, but we're gonna accomplish the great things in terms of Rastafari media having a world-class media operation that's Rastafari focused. We deserve it. You know what I mean? We are a global cultural power, and we deserve a media platform that represents that. You know what I mean? And with I rising, I know many more will rise as well, just as I was inspired by ones like the Honorable Priest Isaac, ones like Ija Star, who pioneer in the space, just like they inspired I. The rising of the Lion Voice Network will inspire many more to rise as well. So Lion Pride and Patreon, they are the economic engine, you know what I mean? And our goal is to get to 100 by January 1st. Reasoning with the Queen, and she said, you have this goal, you need to plot it out properly, you know what I mean, and set some goals. And I and I as brethren, we just chant it and pray, say it full up the Queens, and this is where the balance come, the Queens them that detail, you know what I mean, and things. So mapping it out, we have 7 strongs almost exactly to the end of the year, which means we need 11 of the Lion Pride to join the Lion Pride on Patreon every strong between now and January 1st to hit the target. We need 78 ones to join between now and January 1st. It looks sticky, I'm going to be honest. However, remember that, I always remind myself, as I have counseled with clients for years, that growth is not always linear. You know what I mean? When you have exponential growth, we've experienced that on the channel. You hit a point and then it just, you know what I mean? So I think that things are starting to soak in. I think that the global Rastafari family is starting to see the value in what we're doing. I think the coronation content help to kind of cement in one's minds that, okay, the brethren serious, you know what I mean? We're bringing heavy hitters on the platform, the Muta interview. I told the item early that I superpower is the network, and the network is not a normal network. And I gotta tell the item the truth, you know what I mean? So the ones that you see on this platform, you can never forecast, because we know so many ones in so many different realms, so it's whoever His Majesty make happen, it's gonna happen. But don't feel like there's nobody within Rastafari that not going to come on this platform. So I don't have no doubt that this would become the #1 Rastafari platform on the planet within due season. You know what I mean? Because we're putting in the work, we're putting in the mechanism, we have the knowledge and the know-how to get it done. But it's not going to happen alone. It's going to happen with the power of the Lion Pride on Patreon and the audience. You know, we're doing a crowdfunding model. We don't want to depend on foreign sponsorship. You know, even though we are going to be providing opportunities for small businesses, and you know, the bigger sponsors will also come as the numbers continue to increase. But we're not going to build a model that depends on that. We want to be funded so that we are representing the Lion Pride, what the Lion Pride want to see. So when we want to do the Battle of Ottawa animated blockbuster film, you know, there's not someone saying, well, you know what I mean, can you have a white savior character in there because, you know what I mean, our customer base and that. No, we're funding it ourselves, so we tell the story how the lion would have tell the story. And, you know, for those who see the vision from early, because remember, this is just a baby. So let me set the expectation. What I'm talking about may take years, may take decades, I don't know. But this is something that we're committed to see happen. But what will dictate the speed of it happening are the ones who join us on the journey with the Lion Pride on Patreon. And I said, for the first 100, we're going to capture all of those names. And when we build the physical studio, there will be a wall or some type of monument that will recognize the first 100 people who saw the vision. So becoming part of the Lion Pride on Patreon now means that you also become part of Rastafari history. So there's that incentive for those who want to make their mark and have something that will live on of the works that they're doing. There's something like that that you can do. Again, we'll capture all of those 100, and you know that will be represented in the future of the company as the first 100 who saw the vision and supported, because we're not going to stop at 100. Just like, you know, we were aiming for 10,000 by January 1st, and now we're at 12. So we just set these goals because that is, you know what I mean, for Lion Pride, we set goals. You know, the Rastafari man standard, just as Rastafari, we set goals and then we hit the goal and then we hit the next goal. Sometimes we fail at the goal. We reflect, we take accountability, and then we come again, new strategy, and we aim until we hit the goal. And this is how we build, you know what I mean? So you're going to hear with this, yes, we want to give you the content, but we have to have this part. You know, I grew up listening to public radio. I mean, never used to love the pledge drive when they ask for the money. But when you become a content creator, you understand why them did have to do that. You know what I mean? To stay independent as public radio, to serve the audience has to be the funder. And I keep saying to I, no one is coming to save us. So if you're waiting for Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, all them thing there for tell your story, then we are delusional. You know what I mean? Is we have a fun we. Alright. So big up Lion Pride on Patreon. Big up the Ubuntu Lion Pride one-time donation of over $50 USA gets you into the Ubuntu Lion Pride. So that option is there for those who don't want to do the monthly. You can give as much. Once you hit that threshold, you can give as much as you want, or you can just give one time and you're there. You're part of the Ubuntu Lion Pride. Some people give multiple times. Some man just say, yeah man, me do my part, me give. So we appreciate all of it. And then we also have the Action Lion Pride. Suppose you're broke. You broke pocket, you say, Ras, me love what you do. I don't have $1 to give the eye, or I don't, I can't, I'm not connected like that. I don't have no bank account. What you can do is like, comment, share. That pushes the algorithm. So we have whole heap of brethren and sistren, because I look at the analytics that are part of the Action Lion Pride. They're pushing this thing all when we are asleep, and that's a lot of our African fan base, you know what I mean, in the brethren and sistren on the continent. They're liking, they're sharing, they're sending it out in WhatsApp groups. All of them think they help, you know what I mean? Reposts on Facebook, all of them think they help, you know what I mean? So big up Action Lion Pride. I see the item are a valued part of the whole family and ecosystem, and big up on yourself. And then you have the Watch and Peep, Lion Pride. Big up the Watch and Peep. The watchers are the majority, are the ones them who take in the content. Everyone starts as a watcher. And remember the book of Enoch talk about the watchers, you know what I mean? The angelic ones. So the watchers can be everyone. I mean, no, it's a couple multi-millionaire and maybe 2 billionaire. The watchers them too. Big up on yourself, looking forward for when the item decide to invest forward in the platform, A man can drop a 10,000 in the Ubuntu and say, yeah, we love the works, you know what I mean? That's coming. I don't doubt them thing, the family, because that's how I feel work. So big up all of the watchers. But the watchers just watch and they don't comment, they don't, there's no way to track them other than to see all of the people who view, which far outnumber the subscribers. And, you know what I mean? So I big up everyone who is watching. Then we have the peepers. The peeper, the difference between the watcher and the peeper. The watcher is just watching with an open mind. The peeper is directly coming here to see whether or not the thing popped down. He's coming to look for some criticism. You see, the Ras say, me, him never say, the Ras, and them try pick apart every little thing, every little flaw to go spread it or to make themselves feel better. Pick them up, man, because guess what? When they go and talk about the eye and every ecosystem have, if you don't have peepers, then you're not doing works, my friend. You know what I mean? So I would just make the item know it's a part of any healthy ecosystem. I choose to big them up. Some people opposition with them, and when people drop comments and bonafide upon my platform, the most of the time when we write them is please explain why. Because I want to hear the viewpoint, because maybe I can get some correction or some, I grew up in Nyabingi House, the firehouse, so I always love the fire, you know what I mean? We relish the fire. Fire can't burn. If you want to go into a fire contest with I, you burn up, you know what I mean? We are the living lava, you know what I mean? But the fire is refined in love, you know what I mean? So I don't mind when ones disagree, but the peepers are there to see you pop down. But we big them up same way. So big up a watch and peep on Patreon. Big up the entire Lion Pride movement, the family. We're growing in strength. I love the comments. And let me just pause for the comment of the strong. All right, special mention. The comment of the strong for this strong comes from our groundbreaking reasoning with Nyabingi Elder Ras Tafari. This comment of the strong was made by Ansel Palmer. Big up yourself, Ansel. Give thanks for the support, he said. Great video with phenomenal reasoning from the great teacher and griot, Ras Tafari. Relevant and informative on the cutting edge. So right there, so cut and clear, short and sweet. Big up yourself, Ansel. The eye has stamped yourself as part of the Action Lion Pride. You comment, and you're also part of the Comment of the Strong Club. So big up yourself, give thanks. Also, honorable mention to my good brother Nick Nakos, who had a comment in reference to confirming that one of the anointing oils used by His Majesty was, in fact, cannabis oil. And he did that research from the one of his contacts. So I love when we put facts in the comments. I chose Ansel's comment because I also love when our guests can really be acknowledged for what they are, and as I said, Ras Ivai has a special place in Iman Chadka. He was a great teacher and griot. So Ansel, the I sound just connect with because that is really what I wanted. The ones them out there to connect with and to identify with. So big up yourself, Ansel. Continue to comment. Would love to have the I be one of the 78 that we need to join the Lion Pride on Patreon in order to hit our 100 goal. So we're sounding the trumpet, calling all Lion Pride. Join us in the Patreon. We want to be 100 strong by January morning. But stay tuned. Whole heap more content coming. Whole heap more things on the way. So big up yourself. Perfect love. Mighty. So you can see the growing love and fullness that is being expressed. Big them up every time. Big up all of the Lion Pride globally. This is such a global movement. I see again all type of Arabic subscription. I see this, that, Asia, this, that, that. So big up everyone who is tuning in, and it just goes to show you the power of Rastafari, the power of Haile Selassie the first. And one of the things that we want to do with this platform is remind I of the power. We get caught up in the petty differences and what we don't have and what we're not doing, and not taking the time to acknowledge the greatness of those who are working, the greatness of what we have done, the greatness of the history, the greatness of what is to come, and the planning forward. So we're gonna get into it now. Big up Ras LIDJ, Ramia King Design, my Tumblr, all of my interviews. When you see me a sip, know that we are living what we talk about, Rastafari business. Brethren support the platform since early days. Saw the vision, call I and say, yeah, put the products on there and see how we can work out. And, I have to push. So make sure you email the brethren. They ship all over. Get your Tumblr and take a picture with it and send it to I, and we'll put it up on the show. You know what I mean? Circulate the Rastafari dollar. Let's do that. Let's show that the currency that passes through our hands, we're making sure it passes through our next one hand before it exits the community. These are the principles that we are trying to instill across the Lion Pride. So let us do that. Big up CMOS Life, Ras Wulde, Wally Kings. You see our logo, graphics, all these things. We're going to be having some commercial. Oh, you can tap into the graphic design aspect of Wally Kings Entertainment. We have so much going on. We have some potentially new businesses. Again, I'm going to have some packages for artists as well who want to advertise on the platform. We'll be rolling that out shortly as well. You have a video you want to release or you have a project, we'll have an ad package where you can reach a Rastafari focus audience. So everything is coming on to speed again. We're building the plane as we're flying. We're building out the ecosystem as we are doing it. So have patience. All right, housekeeping out of the way. Let us get into the program. Election season, Donald Trump wins in a landslide. What a woe in a Babylon. People are ball, all kind of thing. What does this mean for Rastafari globally? What does that mean for I and I? I have compiled 5 things that it means that I'm predicting and that I am recommending and counseling and looking at from a strategic geopolitical lens of Rastafari. All right, so get out your pen and paper. Let me know if you agree down in the comments. Let's have the reasoning. We're going into geopolitics. You know, so I love them topic. Yeah, I can't go too deep. We're gonna do that on Patreon, but we're gonna, you know what I mean, give a good account for ourselves. All right. So number one thing to expect during this new Donald Trump presidency is a war with Iran. You know what I mean? Donald Trump has been very aggressive, ending the Obama nuclear deal with Iran, the assassination of a top Iranian general, Soleimani, which was very provocative in Iraq. That was ordered by Donald Trump. Um, Now he has people like Tulsi Gabbard, people like Robert F. Kennedy. Um, however, the Israel lobby is very powerful in this country, and of course, Israel would like to bring America into a war, allegedly. With I have to say that because censorship on these platforms is serious. Um, you know, allegedly. Israel wants to bring America into a conflict with Iran. And Donald Trump likes, he's a man very easy if you boot him up, you know what I mean? Yeah, and make some aggressive that machismo. So it's very likely that this war with Iran that is looming, especially they're going tit for tat. We've been reporting it here on Rastafari independent media. And why? Remember what we said. The war with Iran is going to shut down fuel production, the Straits of Hormuz. This is gonna 50% of China's oil comes through the Straits of Hormuz. China's a global manufacturing power. The cost of increased fuel in China was gonna put additional costs on all consumer goods. So you can see the domino effect. It's gonna reverberate around the planet. Then you also have the cost of food and fuel. So this is gonna affect Rastafari. In response to this concern with the war with Iran and United States, that is likely or has been made even more likely either. And let me be clear: if Kamala Harris won, probably the same thing is probably we would just be dragged by Israel into that same conflict, allegedly. However, with Donald Trump, like I say, he has a more muscular, he likes to send a message and this kind of bad man type of style. So it makes it more likely that that conflict is going to happen and plunge the earth into increased costs. What does this mean? This means, again, I've been sounding the trumpet to the global family to store food, dry goods, preserve, so that you can endure, periods of high food costs. If you have space to store things like toilet paper, these things, the Rastafari family here in Washington, D.C., we're working on some strategies collectively how we can come together. And I would recommend all the different communities, wherever the items are around the world, to come together, have some emergency stores of supplies, of things that the community use commonly. And these things now can be built up into a central store, and eventually it can become a warehouse or a system where we can start buying these essential goods from ourselves. We can start producing these essential goods. So it's still part of the self-reliance, but to the global family, as the Lion Voice Network, as to the Lion Pride, we're recommending, again, preparation in terms of storage of emergency supplies, storage, prepare for war, essentially, and the hyperinflation that is likely to come. Speaking of hyperinflation, that brings us to number two. Donald Trump has said that he's going to impose tariffs, massive tariffs on imports from China, all of these countries. What tariffs mean is that you got to pay extra money if you want to bring in certain classifications of goods and services. What tariffs traditionally do is add additional costs, increase inflation. In terms of, I think what they're hoping is that it will stimulate the local market, the investors to fill that void in capacity and re-stimulate the America marketing, industrial base, that will reinvigorate America's industrial base to fill the gap, so that American products can be cheaper than the tariff-laden products and services coming from the global south. The flaw in this is that with the rise of BRICS, with the rise of South-South cooperation, most of China's exports now are to the global south. You know what I mean? Russia, all of these countries are moving on from the West. The West is kind of being isolated right now, which makes this a very dangerous time in history. But these actions, the tariffs and these things, why I mention them again is because we're going to be looking at hyperinflation in a lot of these Western currencies, UK, Europe, all of these things, you know what I mean? So the devaluation as the global south moves away from the Western system, because of all of this tough talk and rhetoric. Look out, and this is again collective security. So Marcus Garvey said we're probably not going to come together till our back is against the wall. What I'm saying is that the back is against the wall. Again, I have the caveat, if Kamala Harris came into office, same thing would have happened because of the spending, the this, the that, the economy would have collapsed, global south is moving away. So a lot of these things is just timing. Two wings, same bird. Preparation. So number one, war with Iran. Number two, tariffs leading to higher inflation, increased cost of goods and services. Number three is going to be racial tensions rise. Now, a lot of black people support Donald Trump, and I mean, him saying love black people, but a lot of white supremacists or alleged white supremacists support Donald Trump too, and a lot of them will be emboldened. A lot of black people will feel tension and heightened, and it's going to be a tense racial environment in the United States of America. So if you're a Rastafari in the United States, be on guard. Most of the time I see it because, white, black, they look at the Rastafari brethren and sister and they think Bob Marley. You know what I mean? Even the white supremacists, a lot of them, you know what I mean, they're going to give you a pass. That don't mean they love you, but they will give you a pass as long as you hold your frame. You walk within the light of Kadamawi. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Fear no evil. We just walk with that lion energy. We keep them still. You know what I mean? So you have to really walk. If you're dibble and dabble and your energy force not really up like that, then you need to maybe worry. But the heightened awareness, time and place, particularly I and I that don't trim, I and I that keep the covenant, we can't blend in anywhere, on top of the fact that we're black. We are basically a living Pan-African symbol. So we just have to be aware that there is that heightened racial and just how we move. Keep that kind of energy. All right. And that probably is going to extend globally. As Europe is in decline, remember that the beast is most dangerous when he's in danger. So we have to keep in mind, that white people everywhere feel threatened. We see the xenophobia in Europe, the neo-Nazi groups, all of that is on the rise. So for those of I and I who are still in these Western colonial societies, just stand guard, all right? Give thanks. Number four, we shift to a more positive. Um, the tensions, the war, the this, the that, opens opportunities for Rastafari businesses, Rastafari ITAL, all of the things that we've been talking about as the globe awakens, as people go through hard times. What do they search for? They search for the roots and the culture. What do we have? We have the roots and the culture. So the things that people ignored in times of bliss, they come forward to, you know what I mean, to soothe the soul, the music, the consciousness. So this is the time for us to really hold the liberty, hone the liberty. We can make billions during this downturn time just by being who we are and being that light in the darkness that people want to gravitate to. So everything, all the products and services that we have, and that's why the work we're doing now is so crucial in preparation, so that when the people search, we're findable on the modern technology. Make sure you set up your ecosystems, your thing. And I'm doing creative consultations. You can reach out through my website to get your creative consultation. You should be setting up as Rastafari your operation now, so that you can tap into the global swell that's coming. Remember me tell you, there's gonna be a global swell for Rastafari vibration and energy. You think you saw something during Bob Marley time. This is the past. Watch what's coming. Remember me tell you. All right. And 5, finally, is that there's going to be space for African development because of the war in the Middle East. We still have the war in Ukraine, and other intrigue internally, because they're not just going to let Donald Trump go. There's going to be an internal battle in America, in terms of energy. If you try to take him down while he's in power, that fight is going to happen. So the resources for destabilize Africa and some of these other countries is not going to be as much. And Donald Trump, as a America First, may be closing a lot of the military bases that, not bringing return, like AFRICOM, and these kind of things might be pared down. So this will give us some space for African development, Africa to grow, without foreign intervention. So now is the time, this is the window, repatriation window. I'm looking at the next 4 years as really repatriation window. It's going to be dread around the rest of the world, and we still have these skirmishes in Africa. But the good thing about all of these skirmishes on the African continent is that they are funded by foreign powers. So when these foreign powers money dry up and divert, we can find African solutions to these African problems. So I'm looking at this next 4 years as a potential repatriation window, and I need to accelerate our repatriation plan globally, as we move into this great blockbuster film called the Armageddon's War, which is unfolding. We need to get our act together. We have, again, a window of opportunity, and that's the 5. So number 1, prepare. War with Iran is coming. That is, the whole Middle East thing, that now gonna stop. All right. Number 2, the policies, economic policies, the tariffs, the hyperinflation, the de-dollarization, the rise of BRICS, all of that. Prepare in the West to pay a lot more for goods and services. Come together, store, work together, circulate the Rastafari dollar. These things are imperative. Number 3 is racial tensions will increase. Guard your head. Know where you're there. Know where you're do. Anywhere you're there. In these societies where the rise of the ultra right is coming, the ultra left, both of these sides are dangerous to I and I. The ultra left don't love I and I because we stand on man, woman, child. Far right because of the skin color and the blackness. So both of these sides, I and I just need to stand guard and know over there. Opportunities for business, as things descend into darkness, the light becomes that much brighter. Set up yourself, your business as service. You will be a light. You will attract like souls. There are tens of thousands and millions and billions of people who want Rastafari light and energy. Are you prepared as a business person to benefit from your unique talent and skill as a Rastafari or Pan-African person. Because this applies to the Pan-African community, because that Pan-African energy is going to swell during this next 4 years under the pressure. And that was actually one of the benefits, because anytime the Democrats come in, you have a black face, kind of everybody go to sleep. With Trump, and we saw this during the first, the mobilization, the this, the that ramp up, which is good because we need people to wake up. And then finally, space for African development, repatriation time. So all of these things are how I'm looking at the ascendance or the reascendant of Donald Trump, how we are viewing the American election. We got political today. How did the item feel? Do you agree, disagree? Let's have the reasoning. Continue it in the comments. We are committed to providing high level Rastafari reasoning. We go in the topics them and try come up with solutions as we move forward into this Iowa of International Black Repatriation. You love it? Join Lion Pride on Patreon. We need 178 in 7 weeks, 11 every strong. Will you be part of the 11 this strong? Please join us as we build toward first class Rastafari independent non-aligned media. And you may ask, why do we need Rastafari independent non-aligned media? And my answer would be that the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, have to work harder, have to pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, have to work harder, have to pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game, that's the new matrix. It's a new world order, them start bleaching, diverse doctrine, them start preaching. Angels for the stars they reaching, they're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order, them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order, have to work harder, have to pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, have to work harder, have to pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game, that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Them pan cell phone, families don't even talk in their home. Village farmers get murdered by drones. Village mistress get murdered by stones. New world, so you better call Tyrone. Tell him prepare to use the whole earth a war zone. New world, Satan lost for the throne, so we must exit us and leave him alone. The new world order, have to work harder, have to pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, have to work harder, have to pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game, that's the new matrix. It's a new world order, check the energy. Make it so hard to go have a family. Man, woman and child, well that's the trinity. Preserve the bloodline, Solomonic dynasty. Vatican them say you beat at them malice and them thief. Harvest and them reap for the global elite. As when the elder him said, don't you weep. The lion destroyed them by the words that he speak.